Hello, baby. We've returned.
Yeah, we'll be singing this episode. Are we good?
Okay. Let's try action again.
I guess we'll start then. I don't remember that.
Rolling one.
Those jokes now.
I'm not done. Yeah.
That's what I was aiming for.
Hi everybody and welcome to episode 17 of Nights at the Round Table. Today we are discussing the book Fortunately the Milk by Neil Gaiman. And this is a story about the adventures one father goes through in order to bring home milk for breakfast. And I'm not saying any more than that. Let's start with overall impressions of the book. Go ahead.
I'm a sucker for time travel stories. I love everything. Spoiler, there's time travel. And I've been a fan of Neil Gaiman for 20 years, so it was the perfect read for me. It took me maybe an hour, and it was great.
A whole hour? Like 20 minutes.
Speed reader.
Well,
I looked at the pictures.
So did I!
Detail.
I didn't do that.
The magnifying glass.
I loved it. It's a kid's book, so that to me is like candy, I guess.
So Sonia, I know you're not a big fan of young adult. What do you think of middle school?
What's middle school in North America?
Pictures.
Pictures. Oh, yeah.
This.
It was fun. I really liked this book a lot. It was adorable and very punny, and there were some really subtler, funny moments that adults would get that children would not. That I thought it was just brilliant. I didn't actually manage to get a physical copy of the book, so I was listening to Neil Gaiman read it himself on Audible. And if you can,
Highly recommend
it. It was very entertaining. And no more than an hour to listen through all the way. So yeah, it was a great book, lots of fun. I enjoyed it very much. Something I'll read to my kids, I think. And it's funny because I'm not a massive Neil Gaiman fan. He's really hit and miss for me. Some of his books are brilliant, and then some of his books are just
His kids' books, I find, on average, are amazing.
Okay, this is the only kid book by Neil Gaiman I've read.
Well,
Unsurprisingly. Yeah, there were a lot of really funny moments in this.
he uses a lot of unexpected moments.
Yeah.
And wordplay that's kind of reminds me of Douglas Adams.
I was going to say, it felt Douglas Adams to me, very Douglas Adams.
A nice combination, Douglas Adams and Douglas Adams era Doctor Who. With that, old Doctor Who, he ran the show for a season.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Ah.
So there's a lot of quips in it that remind me of Doctor Who. And I mean, there's a time traveler and his assistant.
Yes.
Sorry, her assistant.
Her assistant, yeah, that cracked me up.
I loved that, and I had forgotten it from the first time I read this, which was earlier this year.
And I like the character's reaction to the finding out that his friend was actually a female without realizing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and he felt embarrassed as opposed to...
Oh, they do that. Oops.
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 Well, I just assume all dinosaurs are it's, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, I know that they were male and female because there were baby dinosaurs, but it made me very happy that it was a she, though.
Yes, that the massive, very famous, wisest of all dinosaurs science inventor person was a woman. I liked that very much. A woman. A female stegosaurus. Yeah, that was really fun. I really liked how everything had a purpose in this book. Like everything. From at the start where he's picked up by the aliens and he says, but I have no enemies. And then he escapes and makes a whole bunch of enemies so that the aliens can then bring back the enemies as they threatened to before. That was very clever.
That's one thing that Gaiman says is a big difference between writing for adults and writing for children. When he writes for adults, he writes for the whole story, while when he writes for children, every single word has to have a purpose.
Yeah.
That's what he says.
He talked about that when we saw him in person.
So jealous. So jealous. He seems like a really nice guy.
Yeah.
He signed for 4 hours after.
Really?
4 hours.
And
And we know that because we were there the entire time because our row was called last.
That's after a 2-hour speaking presentation. And before that, he had spent 6 hours signing the books that were in the lobby.
Mr. Gaiman, sir, you're awesome.
It's a good thing he writes with a pen in a notebook.
Yeah.
His arm is
His
used
eyes
to
is
it.
practiced. Oh god.
I liked the jabs at different genres. They weren't necessarily making fun of the genres, but they were.
But they're kind of like spoofs.
They were like spoofs. The pirates with the, well, if I'm going to be saved, it's
Yeah,
I'm on the plank.
But
we don't have a plan. Well, you
What
do
is
now.
Yeah.
I love that the piranhas were accidentally introduced and then they kept being there, but they were like.
Never really explained.
Oh, that was another adventure.
Unfortunately, the mill floated at a
The
key
last
moment.
moment. But they didn't bring the sharks back.
Well, no, they're too big. I guess they brought a mountain. The volcano god.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know that he.
They didn't
He
bring
was
the
in the spaceship.
volcano.
They didn't bring
brought
the volcano.
god.
Which was
That was the same thing.
read in a Scottish accent in the
Really?
book.
We didn't get to hear that part.
I cracked up.
You didn't get that far.
Oh yeah, no,
We got
Scottish
to-
accent. Splod was Scottish, and it
That's
just-
awesome. God of short names.
Yeah, yeah. The unutterable Splod is how he introduced himself. And I also like that being a geological formation.
He had plenty of time to think about.
Also, he has a subscription to a number of learning channels.
Learned magazines, learned
Learned
papers.
journals.
Was it journals? Oh,
Yeah.
whoops, I heard channels. Whoops. I should listen more carefully.
It's hard to listen when you're laughing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's. I'm listening to my iPod with this thing on it, and I'm sitting on the bus, and every so often I'll just be staring off into space, and then I'll go.
I don't think
I
you can
do
listen
that
to it.
anyways, whether I'm listening.
But if you have a book in your hand, at least you don't look insane. Like, people are going to assume that the book is funny. I'm just giggling to myself and, like, nothing. It's just, I had a number of people turn around and go,
I'm glad I wasn't listening to it because I would laugh so loudly every time. Oh, you looked like you were in trouble. I hope you don't mind that I helped you.
You're a stegosaurus! Not thank you very much.
That was very Douglas
and I
Adams.
said, you're a stegosaurus. Yes. My favorite pun, I think, was, so if you don't want to spend the rest of your lives in a universe that does not exist, because kids would be like, yeah, okay, that's reasonable, and I'm, as an adult, like, that's not possible. The universe ends, everything ends, you won't be spending the rest of your lives in anything, there will be no lives. And I actually giggled at that point, I was like, that's cute.
I guess I'm a kid. Because that hadn't occurred to me.
I like that the aliens were also like serial redecorators.
I like that there wasn't necessarily much violence.
Yeah.
There's some hinted at with the Wumpires.
Yeah.
But other than that, there wasn't much violence, so redecorating the planet was probably a worse fate.
Yeah. We'll replace all the trees with plastic flamingos.
And all the mountains with throw cushions.
With circus.
The moon with a decorative plate.
And all of the...
Australia with a decorative plate.
Australia
Being
with a
Australian, I fell off my seat laughing. That was hilarious.
Well, it said that they wanted to replace all the landmarks with decorative plates. Australia is
The
apparently a
landmark.
landmark.
Apparently, the entire continent is a landmark. Did anyone have any points to bicker about this book?
Well,
It was
No.
too short.
yeah. I wish it hadn't been made up.
I wish this
Is
was
it
true.
made up?
Well, it feels like it was.
Look at the picture on
I
the last
know,
page.
I know. It has the Spanish doubloon on the bottom of the milk.
Does it?
Yeah,
Ah.
but
Oh, that's cool.
he could have easily found that.
So we don't know if it was made up or not.
It just, I wish they hadn't looked around and seen all the items and...
It felt very... Okay, I can't say that.
Why not?
Because it would be a spoiler for another movie. So big spoiler for Usual Suspects.
Ah.
It felt a little like that.
I also didn't like that I couldn't figure out how old the sister was.
She was younger than him.
But it felt like she was super young because of her reactions to things and
But
that
then
sort
she
of
had
thing,
the
and the
vampire
ponies.
books.
But she had the vampire books,
Right,
which made her
put her
seem
like a
older.
tween. Yeah. Like a,
So I was like, I don't get it. Wait, how old is she?
I assumed like she was 12 and he was 13.
Well, maybe, yeah, but
He could have been younger.
it felt to me like they were both much younger.
Thinking of the sister, I love that one line where she's like, if something has happened to him, Mom will blame us.
Yeah.
Which is such, like, the dad feels like the typical British TV dad who's slightly wise, but it doesn't happen very often. He's bumbling. Very different from most dads in books. Most dads in books are more of the American suit and tie. I don't have time for this. I'm sorry I missed your Little League game. I had a business meeting. Type of thing.
Plot of Hook.
Yeah. Plot of a lot of movies.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
I like the bumbling dad. Because I assume I'll be more of a bumbling dad.
Neil Gaiman.
Well,
Yeah. Who made up that story right on the spot? From
Yeah.
things that he could see. Yeah.
He said that he wanted to write something for his kids where the dad wasn't the villain or completely useless. And the artist actually drew the book to look like him a little.
Oh yeah, yeah.
This is the American version. The UK version is different. They
Okay.
have a different artist completely. And there's no comma after, fortunately.
In the UK version?
Yeah. We wanted to get both.
One thing that I find really interesting about the books, the UK version has a carton of milk, and apparently you can't get cartons of milk in the UK, but the US version has a jug of milk. You can't get a jug of milk.
It's a bottle.
It's a bottle, sorry. You can't get a bottle very often here.
You can in health stores.
Yes.
Well, the biological milk usually comes in those glass bottles that you recycle.
It makes it feel like this is an older book.
Oh yes, exactly.
Because
yeah.
of the bottle of milk.
Because
So
of
it
the
makes
bottle.
it feel like it's more like in the 60s.
And it doesn't have any mention of computers or technology to date it, really.
Yeah, except for Professor
That matters,
Stag.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that doesn't count.
Yeah.
She's a time traveler.
And she invented this 150 million years ago. So
That's a box
That's-
with stones.
yeah, with stones and string for sandwiches.
Did you have anything you didn't like about it?
No.
Whoa.
I'm amazed.
Yeah, and this is a young adult book that I didn't read when I was a teenager
Well,
or younger.
I didn't either.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone did. Unless they were a teenager when it came out last year.
No, I just
This year. January.
2013.
Okay.
Right. Maybe not.
You told me this
No,
last
it's this
night,
year,
but it
you're
was
right. Sorry.
last year.
It's 2014, my mistake.
I don't know where the date is. Just keeps going. 2013. But we got it this year. I think it came out in like November or something.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, I remember reading about it on his blog actually. Yeah. I don't know, it was really quite charming. And so, because it is a book for such young people, the plot holes weren't such a big deal for me. Because when you're a kid, you just accept things as. And although what I liked about the little boy was, he's like, hang on a second.
There aren't any piranhas.
There aren't any.
Water.
The piranhas are freshwater fish. What were they doing out in the ocean? And also, but he's a stegosaurus. How could he
Nimbly climb up the ladder.
climb up the ladder? My favorite was well, he was a very large stegosaurus, but he was very light on his feet. There are some fat people who are excellent dancers.
Yeah, it had enough in it to keep an adult interested,
Yeah, I can.
and enough to make it rereadable later on in life. So
Yeah.
like the vampire books thing, kids might not get that at 5, but later on they might.
Although that might be a dated thing because hopefully vampires are on their way out.
I don't know, they were pretty popular when I was in my teens.
Really?
Yeah, remember Lestrade and
Lestrade.
Interview, whatever. Interview with the Vampire.
That's very Sherlockian.
Couldn't read through those books, not Sherlock.
Oh, the Anne Rice
The
stuff?
I couldn't stand them.
This is Vampire Lestrade. He's a bumbling investigator.
Actually, that I would read.
Lestrade is the hipster version.
It's the
Yeah.
hipster version, right?
I was into it before anyone else.
Yeah. I knew Charlotte before you did.
Actually, I think the only vampire novel I've ever really enjoyed was Fever Dream by George R. R. Martin.
Haven't read it, although I would probably enjoy it.
Yeah, you would.
Anne Rice actually is. Do you?
Yeah, we can lend it to you.
Anne Rice is not a bad writer though. I haven't read any of her vampire stuff, but there was another book of hers that I read about, very bizarre.
I'm not saying she's a bad writer, I just couldn't get through it. It's, I think, too much angst for me.
Oh, okay.
I didn't really enjoy it very much. I read the whole thing, but I didn't enjoy it very much.
Alright, back to the
Yes,
book
back to this.
at hand.
You'll cut that bit out.
Well, no, probably not. Let's be honest.
Sorry for the segue.
One of the things that also made me crack up was the song "I Got a Lovely Bunch of Hard-Haired White Crunches."
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, does that mean that all the other songs are songs that we should know? I don't know.
Yeah, I think
so.
Maybe not the one about the dinosaurs being space policemen.
Although I would love to hear someone do like a heavy 80s rock version of that.
It's the final countdown. They were headed to Venus. Didn't the dinosaurs take to the stars?
They took to the stars.
Well, that's what Come Sail Away is about. Dinosaurs.
And maybe it's related to Doctor Who.
Maybe.
Maybe we see Professor Stag in Doctor Who.
Later?
Yeah.
Got it. There's
Although-
nothing about BBC on it.
That would be hilarious.
It would be, because the dinosaurs did evolve and take to the stars in Doctor Who.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh,
they-
well, I wonder if that's where Neil Gaiman got it from. Because I know he's written a couple of episodes for Doctor
But he didn't write that one.
No, well,
No.
he wasn't, I'm not sure he was, he's over 50, but he was very young when it premiered. They started talking about those dinosaurs back in Second Doctor's time.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they're one of the classics.
I didn't know that.
Classic.
I was talking about last season.
Oh.
I
Dinosaurs in Space.
Yeah!
That's what it was called, the episode.
Fair enough. I actually haven't seen any of the Doctor Who since Mr. Baker. And then even then I was
Which one? Baker 1 or 2? Curly hair who's crazy
With
or
the
curly?
scarf.
with a scarf.
Scarf? Okay.
So 4.
Wow.
That's...
Yeah, I was very, very young when I watched it. So yeah, I know I have a lot of catching up to do. But fortunately, the milk.
was deep in my coat pocket.
I like that he never dropped or lost the milk except for when he stole it from himself.
Oh well, he dropped it
and
on the
volcano.
Splodge's head.
It was never, like, I half expected him to destroy it
Splod.
and then have to go back in time to get more.
Oh yeah. I liked the typical conundrum of the time traveling paradox.
If two objects
Two
touch
objects
each other.
touch. Usually it's if you see your future or past self and
Mhm.
yeah.
But does
two
that
objects
several
touch.
times.
Yeah. Two objects
That extremely
touch.
handsome gentleman over there.
It's the, I think, time cop paradox. Two objects of the same mass can't touch. And in time cop, they turn into a swirling goo and then disappear.
Okay, so in this one, it was either the end of the universe, which was more probable, or three dwarves with flower pots on their head
Would've-
start dancing down the street. So naturally, of course, spoiler alert, three dwarves appear and start dancing down the street with flower pots on their head, and that cracked me up too.
It did.
I wish I could have heard him read that part.
We'll
We'll have to read
We'll
it.
have to get it.
Yeah, I highly recommend getting the audiobook. It was extremely entertaining.
Well, we heard the first part, so we know that.
Yeah.
Stay as the first.
It was the right amount of irreverent that you didn't really care so much about the science.
Yeah, or, you know, the plot at all.
Yeah, well, it's time travel. You have to expect plot holes.
Yes.
I don't think there's any time travel that has no plot holes whatsoever. Except for the ones where they go to the future and stay there. Which I think is called a movie. They travel about several hours into the future throughout the movie.
Oh.
That joke, sorry.
Yeah. Wah wah.
You can cut that
Sad
part out.
trombone. No, that's staying in. Sorry, back to, fortunately, the milk.
Stay on target.
Our conversation's kind of like the book, it winds all over the place.
Yeah.
And talk about things that are seemingly unrelated, but we
But
do.
it's
on target.
entirely connected, yeah. Yep, exactly. So if you were to give this book a mark out of 5.
5.
4.5.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, 4. It's super entertaining. I really, really enjoyed it. Good book.
I could read it over and over and over again to our kids, which is probably what will happen. So that's a good thing.
That's it exactly. Yeah, I was going to say earlier, I can really imagine a parent telling their children this outlandish story about why it took them so long to come back from the shop with milk. And 2, I would definitely read this to my kids.
It's a great gateway.
Yeah.
Like you just start them out soft,
This is
sci-fi fantasy.
this generation's Peter Rabbit.
Aww.
But over and over and over and over and over again.
Big praise.
Yeah.
It was the first book I memorized at 3.
Peter Rabbit?
Yes.
I think mine was a book called Liberty Split. It's
I
about a
don't think I've
dinosaur
ever
that got
memorized
lost. I memorized it so well that I could write it out.
Wow.
And I think I may have done one for an assignment, a school thing. I rewrote Lickety Split out and handed it in. And the teacher thought I was a genius, but I was a cheater. Complete plagiarist.
I
Alright,
did that too, but with math.
but with I think you're allowed to, though, with math, just memorize how things go.
Not if you're using a dinosaur ruler to copy out the answers off the back of the ruler.
Nope.
Stay on target.
Equal Rights by Terry Pratchett.
Oh, yay,
You have this one.
Yes.
Do you?
Yes.
It's part of the Magic series of his Discworld.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a Discworld?
Yeah. It's book 2, 3.
No, it's
4.
I don't know.
10.
But there's 3 veins. There's the sciencey ones, the magic-y ones, and that's those.
And these.
These.
Okay.
Maybe we don't have it.
We do.
We do? Okay.
Alright, so the next book we'll be discussing is Equal Rights by Terry Pratchett. Next week we will be reviewing the movie Labyrinth, so stick around for that. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Oh, for God's sake. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you want to join in the conversation, leave a comment down below or follow us on Twitter with the hashtag NATRT or on our Facebook page. I'll put all the links below. Thanks very much.
That's
Because science.
That's